dream sequence. I looked around. I knew I was dreaming, but couldn't quite understand why I was. "Hello?" I asked, my voice echoing around in the darkness. Just as the last echo died, the darkness changed. Lightening and expanding, I found myself standing in what looked like an apartment complex. I heard muffled voices coming from some apartments and decided to go look for my own apartment. Though, why did I know I lived there? I shook it off and came to a flight of stairs when I felt that pricking sensation down my back, the feeling that lets you know you're being watched. I spun around and spotted a boy my age standing behind me. He was unusual, to say the least. He had no hair, chalk-white pallor, pale lips and lashes, and he was dressed in a black hoodie and jeans. "Hi, Lily," he said, smiling shyly. "Hi, Victor. What are you doing here?" I asked, whilst my subconscious tried to comprehend how I knew him. "I came to see you. I don't have anyone to turn to," he said, walking closer to me. I didn't step back and placed my hand on his cheek. "What happened?" I asked. Victor touched my hand and smiled. "I had to run away. To you, as you're the only one not to be repulsed by my appearance," he said. I felt my subconscious react wildly, but heard myself reassuring him that he doesn't scare me. "You're not scary, Victor. I like you as a friend. A good friend," I said, smiling. Victor thanked me and tried to kiss me. I let it happen, though just a light touch. Just as we were walking up the flight of stairs, I noticed that things slightly changed around us, and new voices were heard. "Oh my God, it's Victor! He's so freaky!" came the voice of a girl behind us. I turned and saw a few girls I recognized, but who I didn't know. I noticed that Victor looked angry, and before I could do anything, he spun around and started screaming at the girls. I couldn't hear what he said, but I noticed that my surroundings changed again. "We are going to get there. Don't worry," Victor said angrily as he drove like a madman on the highway. I was sitting in the passenger seat, pleading with him to stop driving like a lunatic. Suddenly, I saw that the road was leading to what looked like an airport. "Victor, slow down or we're going to crash," I said sternly, seeing that Victor was really angry. Just as I said that, I felt the car crash through the glass doors of the airport. I was sure to wake up from the dream, but it just kept going. I was unharmed, and so was Victor. "How do you like this, huh?" Victor's voice suddenly sounded. He looked angry, happy, but also psychotic in some way. Just then I felt myself become really frightened. I had only one thought in my head. Run! I turned from Victor and ran off into the crowd of people in the airport. I ran and noticed that I was changing slightly to have some light luggage with me. I was now also running with a group of girls I sort of thought to be my choir. They looked strange, but also familiar. Just as I saw who I was running with, things seemed to change again. I was getting closer to a pair of doors. I ran through them and stopped. It wasn't an airport, but rather an actual port with boats waiting for the people rushing out of the building. I saw the girls, who looked like my choir, go toward a small boat that looked more like a rowing boat than anything. Just as I stopped, I again felt like I was being watched. I turned around to stare at what had happened to the building. The interior had collapsed in multiple places, and I fully expected to see someone stuck beneath the rubble. However, people seemed unfazed by the collapse and kept walking toward the boats. Just as I wanted to run again, I noticed who was watching me. A boy my age with brown hair and tears streaming down his face. "What do you want from us? You've ruined it!" he yells at someone I couldn't see, angry tears still staining his shirt. "Jacob?" I asked, causing him to look surprised. "Lily," he said, wiping his tears. What is going on?" I asked him, to which he slightly scoffed. "Everything is messed up," Jacob said, still crying. I felt my heart twinge and took his hand. Just then I felt an ominous feeling. I kept a hold of Jacob and ran toward the dock. I ran toward the little boat where the girls that looked like my choir were climbing aboard. However, the distance seemed to increase. Just as I slowed down, it seemed like we were back in the hall of the building. Jacob stopped, and as such, I also stopped as I was still holding his hand. "Lily, everything will be fine. No one can hurt you," he said before squeezing my hand. I felt my heart swell up with joy. I leaned forward and kissed Jacob, a warm and immensely satisfying kiss. "So, you've found someone that doesn't repulse you," came a hurt voice from behind. I spun around and spotted Victor standing a few paces behind me. "Victor," I said, feeling my heart scrunch up again when I saw his face. "It's not what you think, Victor. I'm not repulsed by you," I explained, letting go of Jacob's hand. Victor still stood there, hands in his jean pockets. "You all say that, but why would you run if you weren't repulsed by the way I look?" he asked, still in the same sore voice. I felt my heart beat faster and faster still. Jacob was still standing next to me, and I noticed that Victor was looking at him with disgust. "You've stolen her," he said, addressing Jacob. "I haven't stolen anyone," Jacob reiterated, clenching his fist. I tried calming both, but to little avail. "Victor, I'm not repulsed by your appearance, but your behavior scared me. You seemed so angry, and you looked like you were about to hurt me. I felt frightened," I said, feeling my eyes welling up with tears. Victor looked at me, and when the first tears started rolling down my cheek, he looked at his hands. "I never wanted to hurt you. I love you so much, Lily," he said, crying himself. Just as I saw Victor crying, I felt my whole body react. I understood that I would be waking up soon, so I ran over to Victor and kissed him. "I won't be your girlfriend, but you will find someone," I told him before running over to Jacob. "I love you so much, Jacob, honey," I said before being lifted off the ground. Jacob held on to me and seemed imminent about not letting go. "Put your arms around me," I said. He obliged and pulled me a bit closer. I leaned forward as Jacob did the same, and we kissed, a long and more satisfying kiss than before. Then I let go of him and floated up toward the darkness overhead. I woke up and noticed it was still too early to get up. I laid my head back on my pillows and closed my eyes. "Send me back," I whispered to myself before drifting to sleep. I saw the light in front of me and eagerly went toward it. "Jacob?" I called out as I entered the light. "Lily," Jacob called back, making my heart flutter with joy. And even asleep, I noticed myself smiling, and with it joyous tears rolling down my cheek. The end.